Imagine this. The comfort of your bed, the warm embrace of blankets wrapping around you like a protective cocoon. The lights are out, the world around you is silent, and you're ready to drift into sleep. But what if, in that very moment when you let your guard down, something was waiting for you, lurking, watching? Welcome to tonight's tale on Whispers of the Night, a chilling story that will have you questioning whether the shadows in your room are as harmless as they seem. Before we dive in, if you're a fan of spine-tingling horror, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's embark on this terrifying journey together. Sarah was a typical college student. After long nights of studying and a part-time job that drained most of her energy, her bed was the one place she found solace. But it wasn't always like this. Just a week ago, she had moved into her new apartment, a small but cozy place that seemed perfect for her. The apartment was old, the kind that creaked with every step, but Sarah wasn't bothered. What did bother her, however, was the noise that came from underneath her bed. A subtle scratching sound, soft but persistent, that echoed late at night. She dismissed it as the building settling or maybe even a rodent problem. But as the days passed, the noises became louder and more frequent, always around midnight. One night, as she lay in bed, her heart pounded as the familiar scratching started again. It seemed to be coming from directly below her. With a gulp, she leaned over the edge of her bed and peered into the dark space beneath. Her eyes strained to adjust to the darkness, and for a moment, she saw nothing. But just as she was about to pull away, something caught her eye. A pair of glowing red eyes staring back at her from the darkness. Frozen with terror, Sarah snapped her head back, unable to comprehend what she had just seen. The rational part of her brain told her it was a trick of the light, but her heart told her otherwise. The following nights became unbearable. Sarah would lie awake, too scared to sleep, knowing that as soon as the clock struck midnight, the scratching would return. She began to feel watched even during the day. Her friends noticed her growing paranoia, but when she confided in them, they laughed it off, suggesting she might be overworked. But Sarah knew what she had seen. She started researching strange occurrences in her apartment building, and what she found only deepened her dread. Years ago, a man named Mr. Hale had lived in her very apartment. He was a recluse, hardly seen by neighbors, and when he was, his gaunt, hollow-eyed appearance unsettled those who passed by. One day, Mr. Hale vanished. When the landlord came to check on him, they found his apartment empty, with no trace of his belongings. The only strange detail was that all the furniture in his bedroom had been pushed aside as if someone, or something, had been living underneath the bed. No one knew what had happened to Mr. Hale, but ever since, the apartment had a reputation for being cursed. Determined to get to the bottom of it, Sarah set up a camera in her bedroom. She didn't sleep that night, instead keeping an eye on the feed. Hours passed without incident, but just as she was about to turn it off, she saw movement on the screen. Something was crawling out from under her bed, an emaciated figure with long, bony limbs and eyes that glowed red. It stood at the foot of her bed, watching her with a twisted grin on its face. Sarah bolted out of the room, heart racing, leaving her apartment and seeking refuge with a friend. Sarah didn't return to her apartment for days. She couldn't explain what she had seen to anyone without sounding insane. When she finally gathered the courage to go back, she brought a priest with her, hoping for some form of protection. The priest blessed the apartment, but his expression was grim. "There are things beyond our understanding," he said, "but they cannot be ignored." That night, Sarah stayed awake, clutching a cross tightly in her hand. As midnight approached, the familiar scratching began, but this time it was louder, more aggressive. With trembling hands, Sarah picked up her phone and began recording, determined to capture whatever was haunting her. The camera shook as the noise grew closer, and then silence. For a few moments, the room was deathly quiet, and then a whisper echoed through the darkness. "Come closer." Sarah's breath hitched in her throat as she slowly leaned over the edge of the bed. The last thing her camera recorded before cutting to static was a pair of glowing red eyes and a skeletal hand reaching out from the shadows. Sarah was never seen again. Did the shadow claim another victim, or did Sarah escape its grasp? What do you think happened? Leave your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this bone-chilling story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Whispers of the Night for more terrifying tales that will keep you awake at night. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that could haunt your dreams. Sweet dreams, if you dare.